I'm Rob McNeish here for the North Grove Community Farm. We're going to take you on a farm tour, give you a little update of what's happening here on the farm. Cool, let's go. Here in our greenhouse, we're getting ready to plant our tomatoes into their forever home pots, and we're getting rid of a lot of our transplants. So we've got a lot of plants that we're giving out to the community and growing for our farm. It's finally warm enough to plant all our cucumbers and zucchinis and stuff out, so we were doing that last week. Throughout the weeks, we're going to be doing these tours every 2 weeks. You'll see we'll turn into a tomato jungle. We'll also have some peppers and eggplants and some tomatillos in here as well. So it should be an interesting greenhouse harvest that we're going to come out of here. Go out of the greenhouse and up to our farm where there's some big developments. Right here, we've got our Children's Discovery Garden that's going in. So you had the Family Center move over from Alberta Lake Road. We're now the North Grove together. So they need an outdoor children's space. So this is going to be it. Got a bunch of awesome folks helping out with this. And right next to this is our perennial herb garden, where we can see our rhubarb going to seed and a bunch of different stuff happening. That's just on the edge of this. So hopefully that we'll be able to do some harvesting out of this pretty soon. Yeah. To my left here is our asparagus patch. So this is what asparagus looks like when it is not those little spears anymore. So it's a fern and is, pretty healthy right now. We had a good harvest this year. One of our first asparagus harvests, which is really nice. It takes about 3 or 4 years to really get your asparagus settled in. It comes back every year and you really need to tend to it and kind of baby it for its first couple of years of its life. So yeah. It looks really nice and I was really happy with it. Some really thick stems, thicker than my thumb, which is nice. So we're hopefully going to have this asparagus for years and years and years. Some people harvest asparagus beds that are 30, 50, 60 years old. Up on our farm side of things, we've got some of our early crops we're going to be harvesting. So we've got a lettuce called Tango lettuce, and we've got some spinach that we'll hopefully be giving out this week actually in our produce packs. We're going to be harvesting it and washing it and packing it this week. It's really nice. Some of our flowers are coming in really lovely. This is tansy. We've got lilies. We've got chive flower there. Our garlic was really happy this year. So these are our garlic. We're going to be harvesting the scapes in July at some point, or maybe even end of June. Really nice garlic. Looking really, really, really healthy this year. And we'll be giving this out later in the year as well. We'll harvest this stuff in August, most likely, and we'll dry it out and we'll cure it, and it'll go in our packs. And we'll also probably use it in some of our meals that we're giving out as well. Cool. Right over here, we've got some more stuff that we're planting. And we've done one of the things that is my favorite task every year is this bed and some beds over there. We are tilling in our cover crops. So that's one of the things we do on the farm. We are organic as possible to a degree, and one of the things we do here is grow cover crops each year. So we just tilled in our fall or winter rye, and we do that all by hand, which is a little bit of a process, but people really seem to like it. And the ryegrass gets about this tall sometimes. It was really tall this year. So this is a way that we can kind of give back to the soil for everything we've taken out of it over the year and year. So we move the cover crops around row to row each season. And we'll also mix in some clover and some buckwheat throughout the year. I'm having a hard time tracking down buckwheat seeds, so we'll get that planted soon enough, and it's really about adding organic matter back to the soil each season. Cool, more garlic behind me, lots of garlic, probably 600 or 700, I'd say. Probably haven't done an accurate count, but that's about it. And then this is what I was mentioning in the greenhouse. We've got our zucchinis and cucumbers. So we're doing a whole section of zucchinis and cucumbers this year. A bunch of different varieties. I love the heirloom varieties or the different things that you don't see in the grocery store. So we've got a blonde cucumber this year. We've got a cucumber called Crystal Apple, which is a round, almost white yellow cucumber. We've got a couple of interesting zucchinis, one called Romanesco. It's got white spots and is green. Got some yellow zucchinis, got vegetable marrow zucchini. And yeah, we're going to be planting a lot of different things in this. We're also planting a lot of different squash this year. So you'll have to see how much this is going to change and fill out and how many different types of things are going to be growing. It's really interesting. Cool. So one of the things that's changing this year on the farm is that this was one of our perennial beds that we had growing, but we're transitioning it from a perennial bed. You can see lots of stone piles. We're expanding it, making it bigger. We were going to do a flower farm this year, but we've kind of scaled that back, and we're now just going to have this all as squash this year, which is going to be a lot of different type of squash. We've got interesting squash. I've got mashed potato squash, northern Georgia candy roaster squash, bush delicata, sweet dumpling, black futsu squash. So a lot of different varieties that you don't see in the grocery store that I like to grow because, you know, why grow what's in the grocery store? You can go to the grocery store and get it. Here we're going to grow some really interesting stuff. Over here we've got our flower plot that we put in last year, I believe. And I'm still learning a lot about flowers, so I couldn't tell you more than half of what's in here. But I can definitely see some lily, and I can see some chive, and I can see some hosta, and that's about the extent. I see strawberry in here. I see some Japanese lily. I see some sedum. But yeah, that's about it. I really like this spot. This is becoming one of my favorite parts on the farm, and we're really hoping we can put in some seating around here for folks at some point so they can kind of just sit and enjoy the space, which is really nice. Yeah. We'll move on down to the community plots. So in here this year, we decided to forego having a community garden, but we are planting all of our beds with vegetables. Now for those folks that want a garden, we are offering take-home grow kits. So if you would like a take-home grow kit, or 1 or 2 or 3, send us a message on Facebook or send us an email or give us a call, leave us a message. We'll try to get some out to you. But in these beds, we're growing them much like we would our farm rows. So we are growing a 1 crop per bed or a couple of crops per bed. So we've got a bunch of different stuff in here. We've got my favorite, this is gonna be my garlic dill patch. So for garlic dill sauce, we've got dill on one side, garlic on the other. We're growing radish, we're growing turnip, we're growing baby Napa cabbages, which are a Japanese cabbage. We've got kale, my favorite. We've got peas and chives. And what else do we have in here? Oh, lots of different beans this year too. Lots of bush bean, 2 or 3 different types, and I'm also growing some heirloom dry beans. So beans that you don't necessarily pick in the middle of the summer for that crunchy, snackable bean, something that you leave all the way until the fall and you harvest them and store them in your pantry for the winter. So like you would buy dry beans in a store. We're growing a couple different types. We're growing one called orca bean, that I'll put pictures up on Facebook of, and another one called a cranberry pole bean, which I really like. And got our awesome volunteers harvesting and weeding. Oh, try to keep that social distance. And then all around the edge of the farm this year, you can see Stephanie working on it, we've got our flower boxes. So we're really trying to make the space pretty this year. I'm calling it the flower fence. You know, we would have vegetables in some of these boxes, but this year we're doing all flowers, so it'll be really beautiful when you walk by. And that's our farm tour. So we'll see you in 2 weeks, and you'll see how much the farm changes week to week. It'll be a totally different space. All the stuff you'll see that's tiny baby plants right now will be twice the size. We might even have some more harvesting going on. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk to you later.